ברוכות הבאות, ladies. שבוע טוב ומזל טוב. אליהו נביא זכור לטוב. May this week bring with it the besora hatova, the good news, the good announcement of Eliyahu Hanavi Zachor Latov, with the redemption of Nisan, of the Geulah Bezat Hashem. Bekarov, bekarov, bekarov. I know that some of you have had a little bit of a difficult few weeks, and you're going into Pesach a little bit unsure of the situation. We are all wondering what it is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has in store for us. And at the same time, we know that Hashem is a Kel, Rachum, V'chanun. He is a God of mercy. He's a just God. So we understand that all of this, everything that's going on, is for a particular purpose. And therefore we have emunah, and we have bitachon, that we are going to come out of this with flying colors, if, of course, we do what is right and just in the eyes of Hashem, what it is that Hashem really expects from us. I want to give you a few words of chizuk for the coming Pesach, for the coming seder, so that you can go into that night with being prepared and with a vitality and enthusiasm, Be'ezat Hashem. And then I'm going to give you a tip for the next few days. Also, I just want to tell you that either tomorrow or Tuesday, probably tomorrow night, we will post one more shiur of chizuk before the Chag in order to strengthen you all the more. At the same time, I also want to remind all the ladies that we are still in the process of our Pesach campaign of Kimcha de Pischa, of distributing funds and necessary items for people who are home alone, and especially women who are home alone this year and will not be able to celebrate the Chag the way they usually do. Anybody who wants to make a donation for the Pesach campaign, please log on to www.ohelsorah.com and make your donation over there. Please designate that it's for the Pesach campaign. And this is the time where we should all band together and help each other. And Bezat Hashem, in the merit of your chesed, in the merit of your tzedakah, in the merit of your achdut, in the merit of being there for one another, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bring upon you, first of all, health, tremendous health, a protection on your home, around your home, and in it. And Bezat Hashem, you should be from those that are zeicha to experience the coming of Mashiach bekarov. The Gemara of Kiddushin tells us that there are three partners in the creation of a child who contribute something very unique to that child. The first partner is the father. He contributes what the Gemara says is the white, the lavan, which includes the backbone, the spine, and in general the bone structure of the child, which is white. The mother's contribution is that which is adom, that which is red, which includes the blood, the dam, and other organs that are reddish in color. And Borei Olam, who's the third partner, he provides the neshama, the soul. Together, these three partners give their unique contribution to the creation of a child. Now, let's analyze the Pesach Seder, because there too we have three partners. On the night of the Seder, we have three very intrinsic and important concepts. They're the three mitzvot deoraita that were commanded to partake in on that night. The first mitzvah is matzah. The second is the arba kosot, the 4 cups of wine that we drink. And the third is sipur yetziat Mitzrayim, the telling over of the exodus of Egypt. So let's begin with matzah. Matzah, ladies, is the father of the night. We said earlier the father contributes the white. Matzah is made with flour, which is the main ingredient. Flour is white. It's that matzah that Chazal refer to as nehama demheimnuta. Matzah is the bread of emunah. And emunah is the backbone of every Jew. It's the spine of every Jew. That's our emunah. Who gives the backbone of emunah to the child? It's the father, who's represented by the matzah. The father gives the white, the matzah, that comes from flour, which is white. Then we have the mother on the night of the seder, the second partner, and she's represented by the arba kosot, because the mother contributes that which is red. The 4 cups of wine consist of red wine to symbolize the blood. Which blood? The blood that's given by the mother as the second of the 3 partners. And of course, on the night of the seder, you have the third partner as well. There is Borei Olam, who's giving the spiritual contribution. He's giving the neshama of the night of the seder. What's the neshama of the night? The neshama of the night is Sipur Yetziat Mitzrayim. That is the core of the night. That's the neshama of the night. If we don't engage in telling over the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim, our seder was not complete. So on the night of the seder, we find the 3 partners who help to create a child. The matzah, the father, who provides the backbone of Am Yisrael, the emunah. We have the arba kosot, the mother, who contributes the dam, the red. And of course we have Borei Olam, who contributes the neshama, the spirituality of the night, which is Sipur Yetziat Mitzrayim. Ladies, something so powerful is happening right in front of our eyes on the night of the seder. Because when that night arrives, we are attempting to once again create a child. What child? The child within each and every single one of us. There, by the seder, we have all the elements needed to create that child, because those 3 partners are present again. So on the night of the seder, the Baal Haggadah is telling you, tonight, come as a child to the seder. Come with simplicity and with purity. Come with innocence. That's the way I want you all to come to the seder this year, ladies. This year is meant to create a new child within you. The Haggadah says, Afilu kulanu chachamim, kulanu nevonim, kulanu yodim et Torah. Yes, you might know the story of Mitzrayim already. You're very smart, you're chacham, you remember the details from year to year. And you might be thinking, oh, come on. We asked that question already last year. We said that already. We said that chidush over there. Let's get some new stuff in this year. But no, ladies, that's not the point of the night. Afilu kulanu chachamim, kulanu nevonim, kulanu yodim et Torah. You might know the story already. You might remember the questions already from last year's seder. You might recall the words of the mefarshim. But the Haggadah is telling you, don't come to the seder like an adult. The adult is the one who knows everything. He's the chacham, he's the navon. Don't come as an adult. Come as a child. Come with simplicity and with a purity of heart. Come with such an innocence that you sit down at the seder like a child who's going to hear the story for the very first time. Ladies, did you ever see children when they sit down to listen to a story for the first time? You open up that book for them and it's something so beautiful. You have to see the way they're mesmerized. You have to see how they listen to every single detail. A child listens to the story you read him with such intent, and he asks questions that only a child would ask. He says, really? He was riding on a horse? What color was the horse? Was it a big horse? An adult says, who cares what the color of the horse was? He was riding on the horse. Let's get to the next page. And you flip the page over. And the child says, no. He flips the page back. He says, no, wait. What color was the horse? How fast was the horse running? Was it a white horse? You listen to these questions that only a child can ask as he's mesmerized and drinking in every word and paying attention to every detail. That's the purity, the innocence, and the simplicity of children. How they listen to a story captivated and enthralled. They want to know every single detail. Try to approach the night of the seder like a child. Don't come like an adult, says the Baal Haggadah, who thinks, Kulanu chachamim, kulanu nevonim. No, those are adults. Instead, on the night of the seder, come like a child, with simplicity and innocence, as if you're hearing the Haggadah for the first time. Be mesmerized and savor every word of the story. Be interested in knowing every detail of the beauty of this story, the unbelievable miracles that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did on our behalf, and how the story ends. That's the way we're supposed to come to the Seder night. You have to come as a young child, because there at the Seder you have the three partners who want to recreate the child within every single one of us, so that we'll be zoicha to the great level of emunah, the faith of little children. Don't underestimate the emunah of young children, ladies. It's a level that very few adults are able to attain. But that's what we're here to do on the night of the Seder. That's why the Torah Kedosha tells us, come as a child. The Torah says, Vehigadeta lebincha. Talk to the child within you. That's the child we want to create again through the three parents that are present on the night of the Seder. Because the point of the Seder, and especially this year's Seder, is to go back to that child within us. The child that reaches great levels of emunah pshuta b'Hashem. You know, Rabbi Przansky is a Rebbe in the Mir. He's a Rebbe in the Mir Yeshiva in Brooklyn. He was once telling a story that happened to him when he was 13 years old to his 11th grade class. And he described to them the time that the whole yeshiva was running away from the Nazis. And that night, the mashgiach of the yeshiva, the great Rav Chatzkel Levenstein, alav shalom, brought all the boys into the Bet Midrash. He turned to all the boys and he said, boys, tonight you're going to leave Europe. You're about to embark upon a death-defying journey. We don't know if we're going to live. We don't know if we'll be able to run away from the Nazis in time. We don't know if our passports are good enough or if our documents are going to be accepted when we cross the border. We don't know if we're going to be shipped right back to Germany. We don't know. Therefore, my dear students, if you want to be able to make it out of Europe alive, you have to strive to attain the emunah of young children, because it's such a high level that's untouchable. With that kind of emunah, you're guaranteed to make it out of here alive. After listening to his mashgiach's words, Rabbi Przansky, being a young bacher, he thought to himself, what, that's it? That's the whole speech? I mean, he expected the mashgiach to give this fire and brimstone shiur, but no. The mashgiach's entire speech was a few sentences long. The way you're gonna make it out of here alive is if you strive to attain the emunah of young children. Rabbi Przansky told his 11th grade class, you know, boys, at that time I did not appreciate those words. I didn't know what my Rav was trying to tell me until many years later, when miraculously our yeshiva, the Mir Yeshiva, made it to Shanghai. And from Shanghai, we made it to the shores of America. And right here is where we settled, here on Ocean Parkway in Avenue R. My dear students, for years I didn't understand the greatness and depth of what the Mashgiach was telling us until I had my very own grandchild. And then he proceeded to tell them another story. One day his grandson was walking with his son-in-law down the street in Borough Park, and there was a huge, scary attack dog, a Doberman Pinscher. These dogs are trained to attack. The dog broke away from its owner and it started running towards them as it was barking. And of course the father wanted to grab his son to pull him out of the way of this oncoming dog. And the little 7-year-old boy would not move. He looked up to his father and he said, Abba, what's the matter? Just say the pasuk that saves us from the dogs. And the father looked at his son and he said, what are you talking about? You don't see the dog coming at us? And he's pulling and he's trying to schlep his son, but the kid is not moving. And he asks his father, Abba, what are you so scared about? Just say the pasuk. And the boy whispered a few words under his breath. Suddenly this charging dog with the fangs and the teeth coming right at them slowed down and went down some alleyway far from the father and the son. And the father breathed a sigh of relief and he told his son, what were you talking about? Didn't you see the dog? The dog was 3 times your size. He could have had you for breakfast. What pasuk are you talking about, Bichlal? Who has time to recite a pasuk? And the boy turned to his father and he said, Abba, my Rebbe said, anytime a Jewish person is in danger because of a dog, there's a sgula. All you have to say is the pasuk, V'chol b'nei Yisrael lo yichatz kelev leshono. We know that when the Jews left Egypt, Paro's vicious dogs didn't harm them, they didn't bother them, and they didn't even bark. So we have a sgula already from the time of Egypt that any time a Jew is in danger of being attacked by a dog, he recites this pasuk. But that's the emunah pshuta of young children. My Rebbe said, that's it. There's no thought process involved. There's no idea of, yeah, prove it to me. How do you know? Maybe yes, maybe no, could be, maybe not. These things don't exist by little children. By a child, it's not aseh v'nishma. If the Rebbe said, then what's there left to talk about? What's there to be scared of? That means that a young 7-year-old boy could look down at the fangs of a dog twice his size and not be afraid. You know why? Because his Rebbe told him that as long as he recites the pasuk, there's nothing to be scared of. That's the emunah pshuta of a young child. Says the Baal HaAgada, I want you, the single and individual Jew, to come on the night of Pesach with the understanding that you're here to create again the young child within you. Allow yourself to be entranced by the stories of Mitzrayim. Listen with attentiveness to every detail of the story as if you never heard it before in your life. And then you could be zaycha to this great and unbelievable level of emunah. The emunah that a young child possesses. And that's unbelievable, ladies. I want to tell you a story to emphasize this point of the purity, the emunah of a young child that we strive for. The child within us that we're trying to recreate on the night of the seder. A few years ago, Rabbi Ben Susan went with his family to Eretz Yisrael for Pesach. When the plane landed in Ben Gurion airport, his daughter Adina, who was 6 years old at the time, she was so excited that she started to clap. And she looked out the window, and then suddenly she looked back at her father with such a sad face. So Rabbi Ben Susan asked his daughter, he said, Adina, what's the matter? Why do you look so sad? And she said, Abba, this can't be Eretz Yisrael. And he said, why not? And the little girl said, because I looked outside the window and I didn't see the Bet HaMikdash. There was an old man sitting in front of them who heard the words of this little girl, and he began to cry. He told Rabbi Ben Susam, Halevai that I should be able to come to Eretz Yisrael with such a tuimut, such a purity like that of your little daughter. A young child can't believe that Eretz Yisrael can exist without a Bet Mikdash. It can't be. And this little girl thought what she did with such innocence and with such a heartsiger feeling. That's the way we should all come to the seder night, ladies. Vehigadeta lebincha. Talk to your child, the child within you. Speak to the child inside of you, because that's the essence of the night. We have 3 partners in place to create again that child within us, so that at the seder we could reach great levels of emunah like that of young children, the emunah pshuta that's needed from us right now. So I want to share something with you that when I heard it, it truly inspired me. There was a family in Long Island by the name of Greenstein, I think, who at that time that this story happened to them, they were not religious at all. The Greensteins had a young daughter named Aliza, who attended a Hebrew day school. Every time she would come home before Chag, she'd bring pictures and the arts and crafts, and the family would discuss it, but then the pictures would be put away immediately because they didn't want to encourage any religiosity. Well, right before Pesach, of course, little Aliza came home. This time, she brought with her a beautiful little cup that she made during her arts and crafts session. And the cup was made out of silver foil and some other materials. And on the cup it read, Eliyahu Hanavi. Aliza showed the cup to her parents and she says, Mom, Dad, this is the cup that we're going to put on the table on the night of Pesach. This is the cup that Eliyahu Hanavi is going to drink from. Now, the father didn't know how to break it to this little girl, but he's thinking to himself, what night of Pesach? Eliyahu Hanavi? We don't even have a seder in our house. There hasn't been a Pesach in this house for years. But he didn't want to break the little girl's heart. So he figured, you know what? Just like a game, he'll play along. Sure enough, Pesach night arrived, and the little girl was sitting there at the table running the entire seder while the parents played along just to humor her. And this little girl sat there with her sheets from school and she went page by page. Kadesh, Urchatz, Karpas, Yachatz. And then she told her father, okay, Daddy, it's your turn. You break the matzah. So he broke the matzah and he's laughing because for him it's a game. And the parents were just humoring this little girl. Why not? I mean, after all, she seemed to be having a great time. And they went through one part of the Haggadah to the next part of the Haggadah. But this little girl would not let up. She held on to the rules of the game. She made her father read. She made her mother eat things. And after a while, the parents started to get a little bit upset because she was being a little pushy, this girl. She wouldn't take no for an answer. She insisted that her parents do every single detail because that's the way she learned it in school. But then it got to the point where the father was done. He had had enough. So he turned to his daughter and he said, okay, listen here. This game is getting out of hand. Enough. That's it. But I had a little piece of matzah. You told me I didn't have enough. I should eat more. I had a little piece of maror. You told me I didn't dip it in the charoset. I had enough. That's it. This is crazy. I tried to be a good sport. I tried to play along, but you're pushing it. The father got up. He left the table and he went upstairs. The mother, of course, went running after the father while the little girl stayed downstairs holding the cup of Eliyahu Hanavi in her hands. The little girl sat there all alone at the table, holding the kos shel Eliyahu that she made. She opened the bottle of kedem wine, filled up the kos shel Eliyahu all the way up to the top, and she went to sleep. That night at 2 o'clock in the morning, the father felt something that just didn't let him sleep. He got out of bed and he decided to go downstairs for a drink of water. And as he walked by the rooms, he peeked into his daughter's room and he saw that she wasn't in bed. Where could she be? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. So he walked downstairs, and this is what he sees, ladies. He sees little Eliza with her nose plastered to the glass window, looking outside and waving. Who is she waving to? What is she doing out of bed? So he walked up to his daughter and he says, Eliza, who are you waving to? The little girl turned around and he saw that tears were rolling down her cheeks. And she says, Daddy, you know who I was waving to? You just missed him. Eliyahu Hanavi was here. I'm waving goodbye to him. The father looks outside the window. He didn't see anybody. But this girl was crying and she was waving goodbye. And she was saying, I'll see you next year in Yerushalayim. Bye. These are our children. And that's how we're supposed to come to the seder, so that we could once again create that child within us. I want to tell you one more story, ladies, and then I want to tell you what our homework is going to be these next few days before the Chag. A few years ago, there was a rabbi who came home one night from the yeshiva, and he saw his son Yitzchak sitting at the kitchen table with magic markers and a big huge piece of oak tag, and he was drawing something, doing something, and every time somebody walked by to peek, oh, the kid hid his drawing. And that was odd. I mean, this kid wasn't exactly the kind of kid that would want to play with magic markers and draw. He liked cars and trucks, but there he was, drawing something on the oak tag, not letting anybody look. So later on that night, when this little boy finished whatever he was doing, he folded up the oak tag and he was about to make his way upstairs, and his father says to him, Hey, wait a second, young man. Are you just gonna go upstairs without telling me what you spent the whole night drawing on that oak tag? And Yitzchak says, Okay, Abba, I'll show it to you. But before I show it to you, I want to tell you that my Rebbe told us that on Pesach night, Eliyahu Hanavi comes to every single Jewish home. We have to go and open the door for him, and he comes into the house. My Rebbe told me that Eliyahu comes in so fast that sometimes we don't even get a chance to see him because he speeds by like lightning. But my Rebbe says that he comes in, he takes a little drink, and he flies out. We might not see him, but he comes to every home. My Rebbe also told me that because he comes in so fast and we really don't get a chance to see him, we shouldn't feel so bad. He said that as soon as I open the door and I let Eliyahu in, I should start davening and I should start talking to him and I should tell him all the brachot that I want. So I made this sign for him that when he comes in so fast and I might not get a chance to see him, but at least I'm going to stand by at the front door when you open the door this year, Abba, with this sign. And little Yitzchak held up his drawing for his father to see. The father looked at the sign and he started to cry. The sign read, We need Mashiach to come. This is Emunah Pshuta. That's the way to come to your Pesach Seder, this ladies. There's a child within you that longs to attain and hold on to that purity, to the innocence and the greatness of simple faith. It's your job this year more than ever to bring out that child that's dormant within you. On Pesach night, you have the ability to reach very exalted levels of emunah that you don't attain all year long. And as you stand there opening the door to Eliyahu Hanavi with all kinds of signs for him to read, ask him to blow the shofar. Ask him to announce to the entire world that all our suffering and pain is now over. Tell him that we were ready to be swept into Abba's arms and be taken back to Yerushalayim. Talk to him from the innocence and purity of the child within him and tell him how much you yearn for the Geulah and how much we need Mashiach. I want to give you a homework for these few days before the Pesach seder. As you know, I hope you know, today begins, it's a very special day. Today is the day on the calendar, ladies, and it's very, very interesting that this year, all the days that are coming now were exactly the days that occurred 3,500 years ago in Mitzrayim. And what I mean by that is that this year, the Pesach seder is on the same days as it was all those years ago in Mitzrayim, which means today is the same day of the date, special date that I'm about to talk to you about, which means Sunday, Yom Rishon, Yud Aleph Nisan. HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded every single person in Am Yisrael to bring a Korban Pesach, an offering. In those days, what did they do? They took the lamb, which was the god of the Egyptians, and they openly slaughtered the lamb in front of the Egyptians to show their mesirut nefesh for Hashem, that they weren't afraid what the Egyptians would do if they slaughter their God right in front of their eyes, because Yesh Elokim b'shamayim, the real God is up there and would protect them. They took the lamb and they tied the lamb to their bedposts for 3 days until Erev Chag. And then they slaughtered the lamb, roasted it, and that was what they ate on the night of the seder. Ladies, we are not going to go around looking for lambs to tie to our bedposts. But I will tell you this. The influences of these next 3 days, Yud Aleph, Yud Bet, and Yud Gimel, before the coming of the great day of the night of the Seder, which is a time that is mesugal, it has the influences of Geulah, we can bring our Korban Pesach, a Korban of Mesirut Nefesh. I am asking every single woman, starting today, Yud Aleph Nisan, through these next 3 days, and especially Erev Chag Pesach, to bring a Korban to Hashem. You know what that means? To take something upon yourself that you know is very, very hard for you, that you know will require you to have Mesirut Nefesh for that one thing, and to be makriv oto, meaning to tell Hashem, this is my Korban Pesach this year. It's very hard for me. This is a Mesirut Nefesh for me. I'm not tying a lamb to my bedpost, but I am giving you a Korban. For some of us, it might be Artzniut. Maybe you can go through your closets and get rid of all the items in your closet that you know are not appropriate for a Bat Melech. Tzniut. For some of us, it might be the way we cover our hair. I have never spoken to you about the shaitels and the length of the shaitels and bichlal that you're wearing shaitels, but maybe, just maybe, you should rethink this idea and cover your hairs appropriately this year. Maybe. For some of us, that's a tremendous korban. For some of us, a korban might be in the area of a midah, a certain midah, maybe patience, anger, whatever it is. Be moser yourself HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Take something upon yourself. For some of us, it's forgiving somebody who has hurt us very, very deeply and for years. Ladies, this is the year to give a korban to Hashem the appropriate way, to be moser nefesh for that one thing that is very hard for you to do. And to do it lema'an Hashem, to do it lema'an Hashem, for the sake of the Ribono Shel Olam, and for the sake of Klal Yisrael, who's in a very, very downtrodden place right now. We are struggling. So many of us are struggling, and many of us are struggling alone. This is your time now to be moser nefesh, to try to bind the korban, which means make it happen. Make sure that it exists in your house for these 4 days now. And I do believe that in the merit, first and foremost, of the emunah pshuta of little children that we spoke about earlier, where you're just giving yourself to Borei Olam with emunah pshuta and going back to that child within you and bringing out from you great levels of faith and courage, together with the korban that you're going to give of yourself to the Ribono Shel Olam. Together with the tzedakah that you're going to engage in by logging onto ohelsara.com and giving kimcha de pischa, be'ezrat Hashem, you will witness miracles upon miracles. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will pass by your door on Pesach night like he did all those years ago, and he's going to see the mesirut nefesh on your part. He's going to see the korban that you gave on his behalf. Lema'ano, for him, velema'anenu, and for the sake of Klal Yisrael. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to pass by your house and he's going to protect it, just like he protected all the Jews all those years ago. And there's going to be a special shmirah from the mashchit, be'ezrat Hashem. And you're going to be guarded, and you're going to be safe, and you're going to experience health and happiness. You're going to see the Geulah. The Geulah can come from hakrava. Your Geulah can come, your personal Yeshua can come from the korbanot, from your mesirut nefesh, from finally understanding why this is all happening and what we can do to correct. What we can do to correct. Ladies, Be'ezrat Hashem, I wish you all, first of all, a Shavua Tov, a safe week, a week of da'at, of knowledge, which means to fortify yourself, to understand what it is the Ribono Shel Olam is asking of us. A week of korbanot Hashem, of mesirut nefesh to Hashem. A week of emunah pshuta b'Hashem. And be'ezrat Hashem, as a result of all of our ma'asim, we should be zoiche to the ultimate geulah of the Biyat Mashiach Tzidkenu. Amen ken, Yehi Ratzon.